Welcome to the final transfer Tuesday of the spring 2024 semester. And today we're going to talk about how to complete your transfer application. Important to post the Assistant Director for Student Retention and Transition Services. We're going to talk about completing your application. We are going to talk about completing your application, how to request official transfers from CCDC, how to make that decision, lead time for question and answer. So completing that transfer application for most of our universities now, to be able to use the Common App. This is an online application that will allow you to apply to any of more than 600 colleges. And you can simply find it by doing a quick web search for Common application. There's also the Common Black College application. This is an online application of products for your low-income families and benefits colleges. And the HBCU coming up the last Tuesday college and public donations historically back schools with a single application. There's a coalition app. Online application is accepted at 7% or over 7%. And the coalition schools, students who receive a program qualified for the coalition application fee waiver. And then there are still school-specific applications. As a transfer student, we may find school-specific application is definitely easier way. There are some different ways that you can reach out, which you can do from USIMA, which is the National Association of College Admissions Council, and that's generally the program available. You can put the same things from there. School specific. A lot of our universities will provide waiver fees if you want to transfer there. Or if you know an alumnus, which would be free to put in your application. Also, if you're part of Degrees to Succeed and you're going to do your final admissions application, we will send you the admission for your school that you're having Degrees to Succeed. So what you need to do to be able to prepare to complete Common App or any other application. You need to know that you need to gather some material and that filling out your application will take some time. So don't expect to be able to sit down and be done in about 5 minutes. You're going to need a little bit more time in there. You want to make sure that you've logged into sign in and pulled up the CCDC transcript. And that if you've taken any SAT or ACT, AP, IB exams, that you have access to those test scores as well. And going in, it may be helpful to have your resume at hand, any employment information, extracurricular activities, or achievement that you have earned. And that includes being part of PTK, which is 5 years ago, the National Honor Society for Community College. You're going to create an account, and creating an account is pretty simple. You're going to provide your name and contact information. You want to make sure that you use an email address that you check regularly. I do not recommend using CCDC email address because when you're not enrolled in classes, you don't have access to that account. So I would use Gmail or Hotmail or Yahoo or whatever. You're going to create your username and password. You're going to make sure you review the terms and conditions and then create your account. Know that you'll also be asked to provide some additional demographic information, and this can be your age, the college credits you've earned, the degree status, so if you've earned a degree or you will be earning a degree, and the degree goal for which you're applying. So what major are you looking for at the university? So once you've gotten that far, then you're going to add programs. So you're going to start adding the schools or colleges that are of interest to you, and you need to do some research before this, right? We've talked in past weeks about doing research. Not every university has every program. So you, for example, you don't want to transfer to UMBC to do an online business program. That's just not an option for them. So you want to make sure that you are doing. You want to engage supporters. So you want to talk to your faculty about writing letters of recommendation. And this is why it's so very important to be engaged in class and to participate and to get to know your instructors. And so what you want to ask them is, would they be willing to write a positive, supportive, and highly supportive recommendation letter? Do not assume that someone that you has taught you will write you a recommendation letter. You need to ask them first. There are 4 types of recommenders that you could possibly have: personal recommendations, professional, academic, and high school. Really, as a transfer student, you should be focusing on this academic and perhaps professional if you're going to have somebody from the college that you've worked with in the organization, or if you've actually hold employment at the college, can speak to your professional self. Each program that you apply to can have different recommendation requirements. If you're part of Degrees to Succeed, you won't need recommendation letters, but those recommendation letters come in handy if you want to be eligible for additional scholarships. So it's really a good idea to complete that full application. For Maryland public schools, you need to know that you must verify your Maryland residency, and there are 9 criteria. And these are for every single student who applies for a Maryland public school. You need to be owning or renting and continuously occupying living quarters in Maryland. If you're under 25, then you need to be living in Maryland, under in the household of someone who's paying you on taxes. You need to have substantiated that all of your personal property is in Maryland. You would be paying Maryland income tax, have your vehicles registered in Maryland. If you yourself hold a driver's license, that driver's license be registered in Maryland, that you're registered to vote in Maryland, that you receive no public assistance from a state outside of Maryland, that you have the legal ability under the law to live permanently and without interruption in Maryland, and rebutting the presumption that you are in Maryland primarily to attend an educational institution. And why this is important, I have worked with students who moved to Maryland, lived with aunts and uncles, went to CCDC, we considered them in county and state, but their families in another state were still claiming them on their taxes and still lived in another state. Those students were not able to establish Maryland residency. And so you want to make sure that you're following all of those procedures. You're going to request an official transcript from CCDC. It's $12. We recommend that you use Parchment. You can do that through sign-in or through the Parchment system. Again, if you're part of Degrees to Succeed, you will not need to do this. We will send your transcripts for you. If you have previous college, you need to send your transcripts from everywhere you've attended. You cannot rely on those coursework just being on the CCDC transcript. Pretty much across US, you will need to send official transcripts from every previous college you attended. You want to make sure you're adding your transfer schools to your FAFSA. This is a little trickier this year, but you want to log in, and when you go to add schools, there's a notification in the top right corner, and you can actually add schools. So hopefully, if you're part of Degrees to Succeed, you've already made your decision, and things are good to go, and you don't need to do anything else. But if you're not, and you have some options, here are some things for you to consider. You want to compare costs and how your classes are going to transfer, and how many more classes or credits you will have when you move after. Were you offered financial aid and or scholarship money? You need to look at which of the options best meet your needs. And have you visited and can you visualize yourself on campus? Or have you participated in any online events that they're looking to do an online program? We want you to remember you should be seeing an advisor on the here at CCDC. You should be having them do your pre-graduation audit. The students who are in Degrees, you should also be talking to a pre-transfer advisor from your university. You need to make sure that you apply for graduation. And yes, at the end of the semester, once your grades are posted, you need to send your final transcript. This is something that students often forget to do. You want to make sure that you send that final transcript, which shows that you have your fall or spring classes, whichever semester that is, and that you have earned your grade. So when you accept your admissions, you actually will formally accept it, usually online. and there's often a deadline. You then have to submit a required deposit, and this usually catches most students off guard. Oftentimes, this deposit will go towards your personal situation and fee, but it is a way for the university to know that you are serious about attending your institution. You need to accept any financial aid and scholarship information or begin a loan path. You need to inquire about orientation, advising, and registration. So you should be getting all of that information through your student portal at the university or via email. And you want to make sure that you're getting all of that information. I know that can be tricky depending on the time of year. You have a lot on your mind. It's close to midterms or close to finals, but you want to make sure that you're following through. And once you're registered, you want to figure out those logistics before the semester begins. If you're taking public transportation, what will be your route? You're driving campus, do you have a specific parking pass? Do you need to pay for parking? Where are you allowed to park? How long will it take you to get from class to class? On a campus such as University of Maryland College Park, they're so large and schools and such a they have their own transit system. So you need to make sure that you're keeping all of that in mind. But since it's easy, you can also get the home class in just a short walk. If you have questions, my team is glad to help you through this process. And you can email us at cpdc@cpdcindy.edu. We also recommend again if you talk to your academic professor if they are. Thank you and have a great day.